Today we're going to be talking about loops in Python. So today we're going to be speaking about the while loop. Okay, and the while loop is essentially, so think about like a circle. Okay, so we have this circle, and then we have this person in the circle. Okay, and this person is going to be walking around this circle over and over again. Okay, and this person will continue to walk around this circle as long as a certain condition is true. Okay, so for example, let's just say we have this person and they have 100 health or energy, and let's just say it takes 10 bits of energy to walk around the circle. So this person here is going to walk around this circle 10 times until he runs out of energy. Okay, because he has 100 and then it takes 10. So 100 divided by 10 is 10 loops around this. And this is what essentially a while loop is doing. So a while loop will run your code. So your while loop, let's change the color back to purple. So your while loop is going to run code. It's going to run whatever code we give to it in here, as long as the condition is true. So as long as the condition is true, it's going to keep running. Okay. So how we would write this is, we would write that example is, so the energy is equal to 100, and then we would write while, and then our condition is going to be energy, while energy is greater than 0. Okay, just got a slight typo there. While energy is greater than 0, then what we can do is you can run our code. So our code is print walking around loop. Okay, and we'll do energy, because every time he loses or she loses or so on, loses 10. So this will happen 10 times. So this person is going to be walking around 10 times, okay, until they run out of energy. And that is what a while loop is. Now, I wanted to explain a couple more concepts before we go to Replit. And there are essentially two keywords, okay? There's two statements I want to go through. And the first one is break. Now, what that does is break will stop the loop even when the condition is true. So if we had this circle again, let me draw it again, not the best circle, and this person is walking, and yeah, they still have 100 energy, but it takes 10 energy to walk around. Okay, now the break statement is will essentially stop this, even if this person still has energy left to walk around this loop. So for example, maybe they can only walk around this loop at certain times. So when this time is exceeded, then they will stop. And that's what we can use break for. So for example, let's write this down. We'll have while, let's keep this color, while energy is greater than 0. Then we'll have print blah blah blah, and then we need to take 10 away from the energy. Okay, and then maybe we check the time. So like if out of hours, then stop it. And what this will do is the break is going to will exit out of the for loop. So will exit out of the while loop. Even if this condition is still true, the break is going to exit out of the loop prematurely. We also have the continue statement. So now with the continue statement, let's move up. Let me explain the continue statement. So if this person is walking, okay, now what the continue statement would do is, okay, let's say this person is walking and maybe they forgot something. So what will happen is instead of finishing this loop, okay, the person is going to essentially start back again from the beginning. Okay, so that is what continue is doing. So we might get halfway through and then we see it continue. Okay, we need to start from the beginning in the next iteration. Okay, and then maybe there's another continue. We come back, we skip the remainder, and then we start it again. And that is what continue does. And instead of writing break, we will just write continue instead. Now let's move on to Replit. So with our while loop here, what we can do is, so we would have our condition. So let's set energy equal to 100, not 200. And then what we can do is we can do while energy is greater than 0, then what we can do is we can print is moving right here, and then we'll do energy is equal to energy minus 10. Okay, so what will happen is if we were to run this now, what you'll see is is moving, so on until there is no energy left, because eventually energy will become 0, and then this condition will become false. Okay, so energy starts with 100, then we print is moving, and then energy becomes 90, and then we start again, and then it's moving again, energy becomes 80, and so on. Okay, now in the example of break, so for example, okay, maybe we can say, like if energy is equal to 50, so we'll use double equals because we're comparing. If energy is equal to 50, then we can break. So what will happen is that instead of us seeing all of these moving here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, we won't see it that often. So let's click run now. And now, as you can see, we only see it 5 times, because once energy got to 50, we just told the while loop to stop. Okay, and that's what continue is used for. Well, that is what break is used for. Now, if we were to do continue would essentially skip it. It would skip the current loop. Okay, and a good example of this is, let's just remove all this, and then we'll say if energy, so if we were to write continue, let's just say we write continue. Now what will happen here is, before I run it, we're just going to get stuck in a loop, because before we take away energy, it's just going to keep, before we encounter this statement here, this instruction to take 10 away from the energy, we see continue. So what that will do is it will check if this is true. So right now it's true. It will print is moving, but before we can even take anything away from it, it's going to come back all the way up to the beginning again, and hence we get stuck in the loop. So let's just see this, and as you can see, it'll be stuck in a loop. Now that is while loops. Thanks for watching.